Welcome back, everybody. You're watching Morning Live here on this December 10th. It's International World Human Rights Day, or World Human Rights Day, whichever way you want to look at it. On this same day in 1948, the United Nations General Assembly adopted and proclaimed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Last night, the Wits Business School of Governance, with partners from the European Union and the Foundation for Human Rights, hosted the third dialogue on development rights with Advocate George Bizos in attendance. So this morning, we are joined in studio by Hane Valley, who is the Wits SRC Secretary General. Good to have you.
So my name is Fasiha Hassan.
Yes.
Yes, and I'm the Wits SRC Secretary General.
I beg your pardon. I've got this completely wrong. Fasiha Hassan.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for the correction on that one as well. Let's talk about what happened last night.
So basically, Wits Business School had an event with representatives of the EU, the Deputy Minister was there, some representatives of media as well, Prof. De Vos, and basically what the discussion was about was the Constitution, human rights and transformation. And what I spoke about as a student leader, as a Wits SRC representative, really I spoke about the right to education. Over the last few months, or over the last year in particular, I think we've seen student voices in a very different light as we had before. And particularly, and I want to draw this because it's International Human Rights Day, that it's been a right to education, not a privilege.
Yeah.
And the whole Fees Must Fall sort of movement was saying that access to higher education has been a real issue, particularly around the commodification of higher education, the real high costs that people paid. And that commodification is something that we said was very much unjustifiable, particularly in a system where historically people were under a Bantu education system. And this year in particular, we've seen transformation, we've seen the decolonization movements, Roads Must Fall is a very big one as well. And students are starting to say, hold on, let's relook at what's happening. Yes, I'm 22 years old, so this born free concept.
Yeah.
Yes, we've had freedom for all these years, and we've made great strides, yes. But has the situation changed for the youth? Has, on an economic level, things changed on the ground? And in many ways, students are saying no. Students are saying that we want access to higher education, we want to be educated so that we can actually change the face of this country, and in many ways that hasn't happened yet.
Yeah. Let's go back to what was happening this year, because I mean, no matter what event took place this year, and we look at the year 2015, I think the students have really taken the year and made it their own in terms of, and many can call it a victorious year for students. But when you actually look at the situation, has anything fundamentally changed, or has it just stayed the same? I mean, it was about fees must fall, but the fees really did stay the same as opposed to falling. Talk to me about your victories and your successes this year.
Well, I think in any movement, change is incremental. And I think what we have done is not just bring the conversation to the table, but show the country that students not just angry, but the power of the youth. This is the first time that we've mobilized and galvanized under the same banner. And what we've done is we've shown that a mobilized youth can shake the core of an unjust system. And yes, we have some victories. We've managed to achieve a 0% fee increment. In many universities across the country, there have been other victories around upfront fee payments. Also, the issue of outsourcing of workers must be mentioned in this discussion. But like I say, it's a movement. We're not there yet. The call for free and quality education remains. That really is our ultimate goal. And we're going to continue working toward it and try and hold government accountable. But also highlight the fact that many of the university cultures are not inclusive of let's be honest, the black working class. And also the colonized space that we're looking at. You know, the transformation mandate, it's not just putting in black academics. That's on a surface level. Changing the name of buildings is also important, but on a surface level. We're talking about real substantive change, and that takes time.
Yeah, it certainly does. At the event last night, and I know that we've got you had as a guest speaker there, Advocate George Bizos. Yes. I know he was speaking, and he's been very, very vocal. And I mean, he's not a young man, but he has seen a lot happen here in South Africa. What was he saying? I mean, what are his views, especially in the environment of education, higher education?
Well, actually, I must be honest, Advocate George Bizos has been incredible. I don't know if everyone remembers, at the beginning of this year, we had the NSFAS crisis with thousands of students being financially excluded from not just Wits University, but other universities across the country. And we then went into the community and we said, look, we're struggling, we don't know what to do, we don't want to just sit and do nothing. And it was Advocate Bizos who listened to student voices before all of these movements began, before it was popular. And I think he recognized these issues way before. and also understood the kind of anger that people were going through because of the kind of historical context that he's gone through. But also, I think he sees a lot of himself in us. Very often when we meet him, he tells us stories about how when he was at Wits and the kind of sort of freedom struggles that they went through.
Yeah.
So I think he sees a lot of himself in us, yeah.
Just wrapping this up, I mean, this year, the year of 2015, I've said it many times, and I think everybody's saying it, certainly belongs to the student. It's the year of the student. I don't imagine it's going to end here. I can imagine that this is only going to heat up when it comes to the basic human rights of students and the youth going forward in next year.
Definitely. This is a long-term movement for us. We're going to be around. You're going to see us at the beginning of 2016. We're also looking at the beginning of the year around registration. We need government to come to the party. We need universities to come to the party. There's lots of structural issues. So you're going to probably be hearing a lot from us.
Well, we look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you.
Asiya Hassan, who is, of course, the Wits SRC Secretary General. It's a pleasure having you here in studio. And thank you very much for coming to visit us and chatting to us on this International Human Rights Day, the 10th of December.